I am your caster, Hotohori, and welcoming you back to this Overwatch League Stage 2 preview and review. Today, I'm joined with my guests, Tactical Buffalo. How are you doing, Tac?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Hoto?
I am great. I'm here also with my master statistician, Blue. How you doing, Blue?
I just finished the probiotic drink. It's kind of at the
See,
end.
I've never been into kombucha, so I don't even know what you're going through. So, and Artemis, how are you doing today, Artemis?
Yep.
I love your contributions. So it's been an exciting week of the Stage 2 Week 1 Overwatch, and we're going to go through some of the headlines from this week. And first stories first, at least I think. The Houston Outlaws take down the London Spitfire and stay perfect for Week 1 Stage 2. I had expected a bit of a decline because I thought that the Mercy meta was really made for them, but it looks like they're able to sort of keep taking down these big teams, and I think they might be for real. I don't know. I just hate Muma's face, and that's just me. So I don't know what you guys think about this, but like Houston,
I
I
also
think.
hate Muma's face.
But I mean, they're a team that I don't know. I get infuriated just watching them, and I just don't know why. But they're a very, very good team, and all the Korean teams have said that Houston Outlaws are definitely a team that they will not take lightly. So I mean, so I don't know. I don't get it. So the next story. Welcome back, Delos Fuel. Currently going back into Stage 1 are on a 4-game winning streak. How about that, Blue? So it looks like they've finally sort of righted the ship, but the teams they have beaten are the exact two teams I think that they beat in Week 5 of Stage 1.
Yep.
So they
Nothing's proven yet.
nothing yet, but we're gonna kind of take a look here at their sort of new incoming players, which I think is going to be very, very revealing as to whether or not their pickups are going to be very, very worth it, or did they just basically pick more DPS so that they could just have more DPS and not let any other teams have the DPS that they picked up? I don't know. So, but Rascal and AKM, we're going to go through them in a second. And the final story, of course, is that Mercy is still viable because we saw Dallas run it specifically on maps, and it sort of took teams off guard. And Pharmacy still has its place within this meta, but also is very situational. But the way that the healing is going out, and I don't know, Tac or Artemis, if you want to sort of jump in, I've seen fight times sort of decline, and it's actually become a little bit more watchable. So I don't know what you guys think as to like the overall fights that you've been seeing with regards to the games. So I don't know, Tac, what do you think? Like, is it a little bit more watchable now with like no fights that are lasting like 5 minutes long, and you just not
I
knowing
mean,
what's
I'll be real. I thought it was watchable before. I really enjoyed the long fights because I thought it added more tension. But I definitely think that the Mercy changes have had a huge impact on how these games are played.
Hmm.
And so with Mercy not as like this Swiss Army knife of healing, I think it's really shaken up teams like Excelsior and how they've approached things.
How about you, Archibus? What do you think of like the fights right now? Like, is it a little bit more watchable, or did you miss the tension that existed when the Mercy meta was still in play in Stage 1?
I mean, I definitely like watching the new meta. It's faster, it's cleaner, it's more predictable, and it puts more focus on watching the DPS just destroy the enemy team rather than watching for the mercy res.
Yeah, you're right. You actually sort of know what to look for now. As a caster, like it was always you always wanted to keep an eye on the Mercy on what she was doing, and if she wasn't dying, that you knew the fight was going to last forever. I mean, it led to a whole lot of missed calls and fights that you thought were over but weren't really over, and it's like people and casters were not focusing on the right thing, so it sort of made it sort of hard to watch. for me personally. But I'm actually liking the new fights. I like to
Yeah.
welcome back Lucio to the meta. Uh, we saw a great game between the Gladiators and Dallas, where Lucio's participated in what was it, 8 environmental kills, which was more environmental kills in one game than there was in the entirety of stage one.
Lovely.
Yeah. So, well, the environmental kills in stage one were at a premium because it would prevent a mercy res from coming in, but there was
Mhm.
really no character that could actually do it. Lucio's boop and possibly Farah's little mini shutter thing that would like sort of split people up would be the only things that would only be engaging in environmental kills. But that is I think is a bit of a welcome back to this meta. So now I am going to actually have you guys rate. This might have not been on the agenda that I sent you guys, but there were 3 games that I thought stood out last week. The London Spitfire versus the Houston Outlaws. That's our match one. The London Spitfire versus the Excelsior, and the Dallas Fuel and the Gladiators. So I'm going to start with you, Tack. What was the best game of week one?
The best game of week 1.
Go ahead, say the
I'd have to
Excelsior.
say, huh?
Go ahead, say the
No,
Excelsior
no.
so I can feel
Actually,
happy.
I'd have to say Outlaws versus Spitfire because I enjoyed watching the Spitfire lose.
How about you, Blue? What was your favorite of week one?
I would normally be impartial to Dallas in this situation, and they played brilliantly. And it was really hard fought win, no matter what the actual score says. But honestly, that Houston London game was really good. I just hate to see Jake win because
Yeah.
I hate Jake. So, in other words, my favorite game of the entire week would have to be the Spitfire versus Excelsior because Excelsior lose suck at tech.
How about you, Archimus? What was your favorite game of the week?
I really liked watching the Excelsior game versus Spitfire, but I think the Houston London game was a lot more entertaining to watch.
Mm.
A lot more action. It was pretty close, and seeing a team that isn't Korean take on and kill a Korean team again, it's pretty good.
Yeah. See, I have to go against all you guys. I thought my favorite match was the Fuel Gladiators match. And the
Ooh.
reason I say that is because there was just some amazing shit that I saw in the Dallas Fuel game that was very old school envious. Like I've been watching them forever and they would win these crazy fights. Like at the end, I think the my favorite fight of all was at the end of Gibraltar when the score was 2-1 Dallas and they needed to finish the map to give themselves a really sort of a decent advantage. And they're at the end of Gibraltar, and it's like a minute and a half long fight that happens all in overtime without a mercy on the field, without any reses, and they just kept churning and just keep fighting away and then end up winning the map in one of the more amazing fights that I'd ever seen on the back of a pulse bomb from Effect. But
And then proceeds to full hold them when it
and then
comes around
proceeds
to
to full hold them
defense.
exactly. It's almost
Yeah,
as if they took away their soul at the end of Gibraltar and had them like sort of just quit right there because it was so demoralizing to lose that point for the Gladiators. I think that they ended up winning the entire map there, and then full holding was just like just a side effect of that fight because it just sort of took away their sort of onus on winning the map. But to me, that was the most favorable. That was my favorite match of the whole thing, and I
I
felt
think that
bad for
was my.
Excelsior.
I was gonna say I think that was like my favorite map out of all of the games.
Yeah.
I personally just wanted to see Excelsior lose, um, but I also wanted to see the Houston lose. If they would have lost, I would have voted for that game instead. But nonetheless, my favorite map to actually watch was the Gibraltar match between the Gladiators and Fuel.
Yeah, but the thing about it is I felt bad for Excelsior with Ark suffering his wrist injury. You had
yeah.
Mono playing on a Lucio for most of it, I think, and you could definitely tell there was a difference there in the Spitfire match without Ark being there, and it's that just sort of slight little difference that I think cost Excelsior that win. Um, and it's just one of those things in which it's like once they get Ark back. I think Excelsior is going to be one of the better teams again in the league. They're leading the league now in overall record, but I mean, you're looking at both London and Excel at like 1-1, and the only Korean team that's 2-0 is the Seoul Dynasty. So I don't know how that's going to end up working out for Excelsior.
Yes. So we have better players that came around. Dallas is gonna come back. We're gonna win this entire thing.
Yeah. So, but those are my 2 cents in this match. So what we're gonna do now is I'm adding a new feature, and we're gonna rate the new additions. And the first person that we're going to rate is Mr. Fisher, who was traded by the London Spitfire to the LA Gladiators. Now, he is a tank specialist, and he's a main tank specialist, not an off tank. So he plays Winston, Ryan, and Orisa, arguably one of the best tanks in all of Overwatch, and like in all of sort of the league pretty much. I think a lot of people said that he is a top 3 tank, and the reason that he left London was to actually get more playtime because he did not want
Yeah,
to play behind the current London tank, who is absolutely amazing too, and the Gesture, I think, is who it is, right? So like he
yeah, I
was
think so.
splitting time with Gesture, and Gesture can basically do it by himself, and he wanted to get more front time. Now, this is at a cost of iRemix, who was the Gladiators main tank
Ooh.
up to this point, who immediately got benched. So, Archimus, I want your rating. What did you think of Fisher here coming in? He did play in the Gladiators match against
Hmm.
Dallas. And what did you think overall of the pickup of Fisher to the LA Gladiators?
I mean, I thought it was something that they didn't really need, but it really did help their team a lot.
Hmm.
And I mean, Fissure can definitely shine a bit more, but without like super good other players on Gladiator, I don't know if he can carry them enough. So I think I'd rank him like a B.
Yeah. How about you? How about you, Blue? What do you think of Fitcher coming in for the Gladiators and taking Remix's job?
I think it was a big step up for the Gladiators. Honestly, iRemix, while he is a good Winston player, he's known for actually being a somewhat ult feeding tank. I've noticed that he also was notably the first person to almost always die in any given team fight.
Hmm.
Considering if they were to run some control, you'd usually see iRemix go in there. Surefour would follow shortly behind, get a kill, but then iRemix would be mopped up within the time that Surefour is doing his job. So with a smarter tank in Fissure, I believe that they actually picked up somebody that was extremely valuable. Now, I don't think that iRemix is going to be completely out of the mix. I think that they're going to slowly train him to do something else, maybe off tanking or something along those lines. So I think this is a good pickup for Gladiators, and it's just a matter of time to see how he pans out for the team and how iRemix actually um, how they compensate for his position on the team.
What about you, Tack? What do you rate this pickup by the LA Gladiators?
Well, so I think I think what the LA Gladiators, um, as Ark said, one tank really doesn't make or break the team, and in this case, it definitely doesn't make the team. And so while they have excellent DPS in, um, oh God, what's his name?
Sure,
You know,
for
really,
Asher.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure for him.
Hydration.
Really showing my
Hydration.
knowledge of teams right now. You know, being on an Overwatch League podcast. Um, anyway, Fisher, while being a great tank, he doesn't plug the holes in Gladiator's problems. Shall we say?
No, and I think this is a very, very valid point, because we were arguing, I think, in a previous podcast where we actually said that Fisher, we thought, should have gone to the Dallas Fuel, and that they should have picked up Rascal or AKM, and would have been a
Yeah.
better fit for the Gladiators, because it seems like some of the issues that they have are dealing with the DPS issues that they have in consistency. Well, one would do good and one wouldn't do great. But I honestly think that Fisher is actually a fantastic pickup, in the sense that I think that a good tank will take you far, and it's been proven in this league that if you're a team with a great tank, then it can make up for a lot of mistakes that you might have with regards to what you're doing on the field, and can sort of pick up your DPS who isn't doing great, or if your supports are not necessarily doing the greatest supporting in the world, that a main tank can sort of prop them up. So I think Fisher is a great addition to the Gladiators, and I think he's just going to make them a better team. And I think there are going to
Mhm.
be situations in which you're going to see the Gladiators come out on top in certain fights that I think they would have never won if they would have had iRemix on the front line. So, personal opinion there. So, I think fantastic pickup by the Gladiators there. Now we're going to go to a more interesting pickup, and that is Mr. Rascal, also
Mm.
from the London Spitfire, but this time he actually ends up on the Dallas Fuel. And this is another situation in which, London was just so deep in their player base. And Rascal, coming off of Apex, has been rated as probably top 3 in the world when it came to DPS. And you look at his sort of DPS pool of Genji, Pharah, Soldier, Mei, McCree. I mean, this guy can do it all, but he just wasn't consistently playing with London, and therefore was traded away uh, to the Dallas Fuel, who now have a sort of a plethora of riches when it comes to DPS players. So I'm going to start with you, Blue. What did you think of Rascal's first 2 weeks, first 2 games, excuse me, in the first week of the stage 2?
Rip Siegel. That's all I could really say about that. As far as Rascal did, he kind of underperformed what I was expecting in my eyes, and his performance was lackluster. When he did play, it seemed like he wasn't doing too well at first, but I think that's mostly due to the fact that he's coming from an all-Korean team to an English-speaking team, and that's going to cause a lot of issues. Of course, there's effect on the team, but then you have to wait for the time for them to translate what's going on between the two players after somebody like a tank or a support calls something out. So um, I think that his initial week was lacking for lack of actual words that I could put for it.
Hmm.
Rascal didn't do the job that I was expecting from a top 3 Apex player. I'm sure his time will come around uh, and get better sight lines out of him when he actually gets used to playing with Dallas and everything, and their extremely goofy comps that they like to put together. But for the most part, I think Rascal is going to complete the dive that they've been needing. That, or they need to put Siegel back in because they already had a Genji player. There's no reason for this.
Yes.
How about you, Archibus? What did you think of Rascal?
I mean, I agree with a lot of the points. The language barrier is there, and I think that's really affecting the play. He doesn't look so good because he hasn't played with that team and the language barrier. He could do better. But I also think that Dallas is not a place where he can shine very well, I don't think, because they have so many other DPS. He's going to get probably more playtime than he got on London, but still not a huge amount of playtime. He could have gone to one of the many other teams who need a DPS player to help out their team and done much better.
Yeah,
AKA
contribution.
Gladiators.
Yeah,
Yeah.
contribution wise. How about you, Tack? What did you think of what you saw out of Rascal in week 1?
All right. I'm just going to listen, Dallas. You don't fix your problems with more DPS. For fuck's sake, you
We won't.
have let's list them off here. You got Rascal, you got Taimu, you got Siegel, you got Effect, you got AKM. All right, listen. All right, stop picking up DPS. You have enough. You have enough. And so that's why I think Rascal was a completely unnecessary pickup by Dallas Fuel.
Well,
I agree.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like, overall, I thought he was okay, and I understand the pick. It's because I guess maybe they weren't really happy with Seagull's Genji, which is really, I guess, necessary in this sort of meta. And they picked up one of the best Genji players that are out there. But you're right,
Yeah.
it's situational at this point. I mean, Rascal's going to get a map or two a week, but I think that's all he's going to get, right? I mean, like, because they're so deep in everything else, and and you have other players like, fitting in. They need to fit in everywhere. I was like, hell, we haven't even seen
Yeah.
some of the other one. Like, we saw Siegel not even play at all in week 1, and
Yeah.
like, and there were times in which you benched Taimu for an entire four match session. It's like, Jesus, that guy's, no matter what you think of him, he's a fucking great DPS. So yeah, I think a little bit of issues there with this pickup, but I honestly believe, like, what I heard was that if Rascal said that, like, if he wanted to be able to start a team, he wanted to start a team with Effect. And I think what Dallas wants is to make Effect happy and give him a partner that he can coordinate with in dives to help him sort of attack, like, backlines of teams and stuff. And this
Mhm.
might be more of an appeasement pickup, but that could be just what I'm thinking, because I know that Effect was having serious issues trying to communicate while he was on Tracer with the tanks as well as the other DPS, and trying to let people know in which what they were doing. Uh, Effect's
And I
kill
agree with that.
Yeah, Effect's kill ratio actually jumped. I don't know if you saw the statistic for this, Blue, but first kill ratio for Effect was like 11 to 1 or something like that. When
Yeah, it skyrocketed like
it's
crazy.
skyrocketed
Mhm.
with the additions of the new DPS, and if that's the case, then in the end, I think you can't judge it as a bad pickup. It's just
Mhm.
the rich getting richer in this particular case. So
Yeah.
the next guy I want to talk to, and Tack, you're going to be a little upset, is AKM. The
Oh, for
second.
fuck's sake!
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So this is the second DPS pickup of the Dallas Fuel. Now, AKM was rated by a lot of players as the best free agent that was not signed to the Overwatch League. Now, you can argue that there are other people who wasn't signed to the league that are also deserving of this, but by a lot,
Mhm.
this is the ex-rogue DPS specialist who is hit scan primarily, and he plays Soldier and McCree, and then he dabbles in Pharah. But he is badass when he is on that Soldier 76. I think there isn't a person in the league that's better than him, and the second person that's as good as him plays support on the Dallas Fuel, because he plays Lucio now.
Go Harry Hook.
Oh, go Harry. So,
Poor
Tack,
boy.
tell me about AKM. Are you not going to
All
rant
right.
again? Because I think
Well,
this is a
no.
great pickup.
Okay. I like AKM as a player, and I think he's a fantastic player. However, I do not think Dallas Fuel needs more DPS. All right? I mean, yeah, he's a great player. Yeah, it's a great pickup. But at the same time, they are so flush with DPS talent that why the fuck would they pick up another one? I just don't understand their life choices here.
All right, Archimus, what do you think? It's like, rate the pickup. Is AKM worth it?
I think it was definitely worth it. Like the combined effects of getting AKM and Rascal with effects, and I didn't mean for that to be like a pun or anything, but the combined effects there are just huge. The AKM and effect as a combo have just been insane. Watching them play is amazing. They're both popping off. They're working so well together. And I think AKM is a great player. Even if Dallas didn't need another DPS, it is really a good addition to the team.
Yeah. How about you, Blue? What do you think of this overall pickup?
Um, to be honest, I love the pick. Um, I think that he filled a role that Dallas actually really needed, and it is a relief role for Taimu, who was the only hit scan player on the team. That primarily played hit scan. Other than that, we had Siegel, who was kind of just a flex pick, and then we had Effect, who was kind of the tracer Widowmaker player. Only taking the Widowmaker job because Taimu wasn't feeling confident in his Widowmaker, and it actually showed very, very, very clearly when he was playing her through the first 2 weeks of the Overwatch League. But I think the reason why I like AKM as a pick is because that niche role of hit scan where Farah usually just stomped on Dallas Fuel all the time, AKM can just mop up anything that's in the sky. It's an easy job for him. I didn't like the Rascal pick because he was unnecessary. We have two projectile players in effect who can play Genji, and Siegel who can play Genji as well. We don't, and who they. I know that Siegel also plays Fair as well as Junkrat. We didn't actually need Rascal to fill that role. We just needed Siegel to get better. Whereas Taimu didn't have that support or that relief role where everybody else has. To where if Taimu isn't feeling it, we have somebody else to play hit scan to fill in the job. We're not going to rely on Siegel and his soldier, who hasn't really proven much aside from his Genji and his Junkrat and his Pharah. And we're not going to put effect on something like Soldier when he can be doing something as Tracer or Genji or even Reaper or something along those lines. He's a close range fighter. So with AKM, so much more opens up for them to play, and then Taimu can play other things other than just DPS. We've seen him on Winston. We've seen him on Roadhog. He's fantastic at doing separate jobs. So with that stated, I think AKM was almost necessary, whereas Rascal was kind of a dumpster tier pick.
Well, my opinion on AKM is I think this was a genius pick by the Dallas Fuel. For a lot of the stuff that you had actually said, but I think it boils down to consistency. I think Taimu was inconsistent in his DPS play, and you put a guy like AKM in, and he gets you kills. Even if he doesn't get you kills, he gets you the damage that you need for Effect to finish off those kills. I think the real issue that Effect was having was that Effect would get like a lot of targets super low while he was in the back line, but nobody would be finishing him off. Or the other way around, where somebody would not be able to do enough damage to the line they were attacking, and Effect would come in hoping to just sort of mop up, and he wouldn't be able to do it. Now you actually see somebody who is in there whose job it is to just sort of tick people down to the point where you're having your other DPS player finishing off people, and it's beautiful to watch. And
Yes,
AK,
it is.
yeah, and you see, I think their best combo on the field now is literally Effect and AKM at the DPS roles. They pretty much fill everything that you absolutely need. You don't necessarily dive, but you don't necessarily like not dive either, because you can
Good
use
old
that.
hybrid.
Yeah, you can use that soldier in a fast moving formation and position him in the back, and you can actually even have AKM protect your backline a little better too, because of the way a soldier positions himself. He's not necessarily going to be flanking all the time, but I think it provides enough cover for Custa and Harry and Chips, who we haven't seen even in this week yet. We'll probably see in week 2. Enough cover that people won't be as fast as to diving in the back line, because AKM will be there to gun your ass down. So so I am loving this pick when it comes to the Dallas Fuel. I absolutely agree that uh in the sense that uh, Rascal was sort of a luxury pick. I think AKM fills out a real need that they had in this sort of meta. So our final person that we're going to rate is not a new addition. He was actually on the bench for all of stage 1, and we're talking EQO from the Philadelphia
Oh
Fusion.
yes.
He is an Israeli native. His name is Josh Corona. I had no idea who this guy was. He played on an Israeli team in Overwatch, was part of the Overwatch Israeli World Cup team that didn't qualify out of their group, but made it into the group stages, I guess, where they were traveling around the world and having different games. He is a Genji and Tracer specialist, but what we've seen in this week is that he is a Genji player, no doubt. But he does overlap with Shadowburn. So my question is going to go to the Fusion fan. What do you think of Mr. EQO?
I
Artemis.
think he came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting him at all. I was expecting Shadowburn to come back in, and then seeing EQO come in and just work so well with Carpe in this new meta that honestly, they could get rid of Shadowburn and just keep EQO, and I'd be happy.
I don't know. Like, Shadowburn's usefulness is not just in Genji. He does play that great that great Farah. So I don't know. Like
Yeah, that is true.
yeah.
That's a bold
That's
move,
super
Cotton. You got to
situational.
change up for him.
So how about you, Blue? You saw Philly's games. Like he EQO was devastating. Like, do you agree? Like, maybe he should be playing more than Shadowbird because he definitely took a lot of Shadowbird's time this week. So
I think, and don't quote me on this, I think that Fusion should use his games that he showed up in as bait for new players to come in on the team. So hear me out.
Mhm.
We saw Rascal and Fissure get new teams from London. Now, if Fusion is showing that they have depth with their players and show that they have an all-star that's just sitting on the bench, they could use that as trade material to get players that they need to fill roles that they are struggling in. And that's what I think that Eco actually has for him, because obviously there are still teams that are struggling with DPS. We just named the Gladiators like I don't know how many times in a row. Um, I
Yeah.
think that Eco isn't getting the praise the way he played, and he was extremely consistent for the 2 games that he played in. If the Fusion, I believe, if the Fusion are smart with this, they use this to their advantage, knowing that they're not going to be using him as much due to the fact that Shadowburn fills so much of the role that Eco already provides, and then some.
Mhm.
There's so much more versatility with a Shadowburn. If they got rid of Eco and brought in maybe a couple of tanks, maybe a couple of support players, maybe something that bolsters their roster a little bit more so that they have something that's more consistent than what they've been showing, they could probably be an extremely competitive team right now.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
see. How about you, Tack? What do you think of Eco? This is our third straight DPS player that we're talking about, and I know that you're sort of sick of DPS players at this point.
Pine is the only DPS I need in my life. But anyway,
Okay,
Equo.
so you're willing to trade that Sabiobi though, right?
No,
Yeah.
don't you dare take away Sabioli. All right.
Get rid of him.
Anyway, Equo? Are we? Is that
I
what we're
call him
going with
EQO.
now?
EQO.
All right.
I just yeah.
EQO.
Fuck it,
EQO.
we're calling him Equo. I think he's a great pickup for the Fusion. I think that as a
No
Fusion
pickup.
He's not a
absolutely
pickup.
dominated like Boston Uprising, who was a fantastic last stage, and so I think this is a huge pickup for them, especially if they can give Shadowburn like
It's
a
not
couple
a
breaks
pickup.
in there. But yeah, I think this is an excellent pickup by Fusion.
Not a pickup.
It's not a pickup.
Oh,
He's
it's not a pickup. They're bringing him off the
bench.
bench, and I think that's a good decision.
Yeah, I mean, like
One of the many.
he's one of the many people. Like Joe Maestro hasn't played yet either. I mean, like Philadelphia
Yeah,
has a
why do
12.
they have all these people on the bench if they're
12-man
not going to play them?
roster.
They have a 12.
Exactly.
They're basically scrim material for
Mhm.
the starting lineup. But I'm giving a B plus rating to EQO, and I'm going to give you this one reason. Going over the statistics over last week in Philadelphia's matches, there was an overwhelming DPS player for Philadelphia, and it wasn't EQO. It was Carpe.
Mhm.
Carpe went
Yeah.
off in the matches, and I saw something like he was getting something like 3.31 kill to death ratio on his tracer, but when Carpe went to Widowmaker, he was getting a 9.2 kill death ratio, 9.2 to 1 on Widowmaker. That is absolutely ridiculous. It was like you getting anything over 2.5 in this game is actually really, really good. You
It's
getting,
beautiful.
yeah, you getting 5 or more is ungodly. He was getting in the 9s as Widowmaker in the games that he was playing as Widow. That is sick. And I think what was happening is that maybe he was getting body shots or whatever it was, but EQO was finishing them off and making himself look really, really flashy. But the guy that was carrying hard was Carpe. But the
Definitely.
thing about it was is that Shadowburn like really like was inconsistent sometimes. He would hold his blade way too fucking long, and like he would
Mhm.
just not necessarily do as much damage as you needed him to do. This guy was like, okay, I'm here to just sort of mop up and clean up, and I don't give a shit. Like I'm just going to ult when I get it. And he was doing that, and it was working wonders for Philadelphia, and it was absolutely fantastic. So props to him for taking his shot at the main stage, as you say.
Yeah.
So like, but I think you're right. I think trade bait could be one of those things that Philadelphia could use it for. they are running a 12-man roster. They're not going to start everybody on that team. There is
Mhm.
DPS need all around. Shadowburn would be amazing trade bait. EQO, if he keeps his up, could be amazing trade bait for people. And we've seen with teams with too many people on the roster, they just want to alleviate salaries or get people some starting time. So it might be interesting to see what happens with Philadelphia in the future. But we're going to go and actually take a look at the current stage rankings here of stage 2, and we see that the number 1 overall team in stage 2 right now with a +8 differential and 2-0 record is the Philadelphia Fusion. So
Oh yeah,
congratulations, Artemis. Your team is ranked numero uno honcho in the
Welcome to
stage
the club.
to the
they
stage 1
destroyed the
standings.
other teams.
They did.
Oh,
They 4-0'd both of their matches, which is why they're number
Strength of
1.
schedule. Oh man, I had something in my throat there. Sorry,
Oh my goodness, what was that? But
I
you're
have no idea.
followed up by the Seoul Dynasty with a +6, Houston Outlaws with a +5, and the Dallas Fuel, who went 2-0 with a +4 ranking, winning both of their matches 3-1, of course. This is bound to change, of course, because that this is currently week 1. We have some matches coming up that are going to determine what's going to end up happening in this current stage. But uh, I mean, Artemis, I leave this to you. It's like Philadelphia with the tweaks that they had, the addition of EQO. Do you think they're going to be at the top of the league at the beginning of next week?
I think they're definitely going to be higher than they were. I also want to point out real quick that NYX did lose a map to Florida, who got 4-0'd by Philly. Easy week, maybe not. Also, Boston.
Oh yeah, 4-0ing Boston was huge. That was, I think, gigantic because that was revenge for what Boston did to Philadelphia in stage 1. Because
Yeah.
Boston needed to 4-0 Philadelphia, and Philadelphia didn't go into that match right, and they got 4-0'd. So good revenge there on the part of Philadelphia. As we go into the overall standings, and the overall standings has Tact Team, the New York Excelsior, leading the pack at 10-2. Of course, they lost to London.
Don't talk about that.
But they still are on top with a map differential of +22, followed
Yeah.
by the Houston Outlaws with a +22 differential but a 9-3 record. And
Hashtag
then
fuck Jake.
the Seoul Dynasty, who looked like garbage at the end of stage 1, are in third with a 9-3 record and a +15 differential. So
They really looked great.
yeah, London, it's just been iffy. You've got the Valiant, and then you've got Philadelphia at 6, and then the rest of the pack, like Boston, who was really good at the end of stage 1, has fallen off a bit, losing 2 matches in the beginning of this
Mhm.
week, and you've got Dallas finally getting up a decent record. Dallas could actually jump a couple spots by winning both of their games this week, but that's going to be a very, very, very hard thing to do because you look at the current day 1 schedule, and it is the Dallas Fuel versus the Seoul Dynasty as your opening day game. So tell me,
Grudge
Tack.
match, grudge match, grudge match, grudge match, grudge match.
This was the opening game of stage 1, which actually it was in the opening week of stage 1. I think it was the final game of that day where Seoul actually won 2-1 and probably some of the best Overwatch we've seen up to that point. But tell me, who wins this game, Tack? Is it Seoul or is it
Ooh,
Dallas?
ooh. Let's see. We got the old guard versus the new Dallas Fuel. So, um, you know, if Dallas Fuel continues playing like they have, I'm gonna have to give it to Dallas Fuel 3-2.
3-2. How about you, Artemis? What do you think?
No way. Dallas has gotten better, but they are nowhere near where they should be in terms of being a good team. I think Seoul is definitely going to win. I think it'll probably be a pretty close game, but I think it's going to be like 3-1.
Mm. And how about you, Blue? What do you think?
I agree. I agree and disagree with the last statement that Ark made. I'm kind of at a crossroads. Dallas is definitely improved quite a bit. I don't think that they are what they I don't think they are what they actually intend to be as of just yet. I think that they still have a lot of room for improvement. But as unpredictable as Dallas has been, bringing out Mercy fresh off of the Mercy nerf, I don't think that Dynasty is actually ready for that, considering that Dynasty has actually shown their hand to falter. And being the most fallible Korean team out of all of the Korean teams at this point, I think Dallas has a really good chance of winning this. Now, I'm not gonna say 3-2. I'm not gonna say anything like that. I would like to see them go 2-1 in Dallas's favor, just to repeat the last stage, just to have that again. I would like to see that, but I think that this is going to be a 3-1 Dallas Fuel.
So one of the best comments that I read about this upcoming game is that the Dallas Fuel wins this game if Seoul outthink it. Basically, if they beat themselves. And Seoul Dynasty has had this weird sort of I don't know what the word for it is, but they end up picking weird people to play in certain situations, like taking Ru
Yeah.
Jae-hong out when there was no need to take him out, like putting Guido in when they don't need to put Guido in, or putting Bunny in when they don't need to. I think if Seoul just sticks to their hard and fast lineup and just play who they think are the best players, and that means Toby, that means Jae-hong, that means Miro, that means Zumba, that means Fleta, and then that means Munchkin, I think, is their best tracer at this point. And you just stay with that. And no subs, just play with that. Soul wins. But if Soul get cute and start switching things up, thinking that they need certain players in certain situations, I think they lose. So, and I think Dallas takes it on them. But this is going to be a very, very, very big. Like, this is going to be watched by a lot of people. So my second question is that does this break 200,000 on week 2? Is my question. Like, do we get more than 200,000 players in viewers on Twitch for this match? Be it's a stage 2 match. Anybody just sort of speak up. Like, what do you think?
I think that since this is no longer in the Mercy meta, this game is much more competitive than it was in Stage 1. And
Yes.
I think that people are so much more excited for this game because they think the matches aren't going to last as long as they did, for example, Junkertown and Temple of Anubis, which were the notorious first 2 maps that went on for ages. And that is what many believed, including myself, was the fall of the Fuel in that first matchup between these 2 teams.
Well, let's look at what the maps they're going to be playing. So on this particular game, they're going to be playing Hanamura, Nepal, Hollywood, and 66. And
Oh boy.
all of these maps are going to be great. I love Hanamura. I think Nepal is a great King of the Hill map. Hollywood is the map that Dallas Fuel almost lost to Shanghai. Or did they? They actually did lose to Shanghai, didn't they? They
Yeah.
lost
Mhm.
Hollywood to Shanghai, and 66 was the map that they utterly stomped Shanghai on. And they're notorious for pulling out like a weird comp on 66. This is the one where there was like a 7-minute analysis on how they ran Seagull on Bastion, and how they used his Bastion, or Taimu's Bastion, in that map to just completely dominate the finals of the Overwatch Contenders League. So
Game 4 is where Soul Dynasty overthinks it, and that's where they lose.
I think you may be right. I think they lose King of the Hill. I think Dallas loses King of the Hill. I think Dallas realizes what they did wrong on Hollywood, but still lose it. And I think Hanamura is a toss up, because I think both of those teams can basically destroy that map so quickly. I could see it being somewhere like 6-5, or like 5-4, or something crazy like that with regards to Hanamura. So I think this is probably one of the games of the week. Um, and just to follow up on that, the rest of the games of the week, eh, I'm looking at, like, you've got LA Valiant versus the San Francisco Shock. It's like, oh, California Derby, yay! San Francisco sucks. There's nothing that can tell me that nobody can tell me that San Francisco is a good team, because they're
Hey,
not.
Yeah.
Poco's good.
Uh,
All right.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but
He's
like,
okay.
yeah, I just think the
I'm
Valiant.
trying San Francisco. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Don't listen to Hodo. You
yeah.
guys are good. I promise. You guys have one dedicated fan out there every match.
Yeah, that
We're the
guy.
Overwatch
See,
team.
that guy is actually hilarious, because that guy is loud as shit. He gets the same seat right above where they come in and walk through the middle, and he basically is just there in his jersey going nuts the entire time. And at $20, they should.
You know what? You know what? God bless that man for sticking
Yeah.
by his team. All right,
True fame.
don't you hate on him?
I'm not. I think it's fantastic, and I
He's
think
amazing.
yeah, they should offer season tickets because that guy is a perfect example of a guy that would always come to like a San Francisco game. So like
Oh yeah.
they should be able to sell season ticket packs for your team if they're going to be doing it in the LA arena. So all I want to do is watch the Dallas Fuel, for example. I should be able to buy a ticket package that is every Dallas Fuel game from now until stage 4, and then I just buy it up in bulk for like $500. I honestly believe that like they missed out on packages like that because like if you're a Fuel fan, like the only reason you want to come is because they're playing that day. You don't want to come another day when they're not playing. It's just like, well, I don't want to do that. So, but God bless that guy because eventually they're going to turn him into a meme or two, or they might take him up on stage if they happen to beat the Valiant or something. Who knows? But
He
the
was
other
on stage last time.
was
He
he
was on
really?
stage.
Oh, was
Yeah,
he?
he actually went up there.
Oh no shit!
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I must have missed out on that. But like,
They made fun of him for wearing a Dallas shirt.
Yeah.
well, the other game is Gladiators versus Shanghai. Now, everybody's been saying that Shanghai has gotten way, way better. I want your guys' opinions, honestly. Is this the game they finally win out against somebody?
Yes.
Blue says yes. Tack, what do you say?
That wasn't blue.
That
That was
Tack. Come on now.
Oh, Tack.
You've
okay.
heard us talk shit this long.
So, okay, Tack says yes. Blue, what do you think?
I'm gonna give it a hard no.
Fuck.
There's a reason why.
And
Because
what is that
there's a
reason?
fissure on the team,
Ah.
and that was the pickup that if it wasn't for Fissure being on the team, I probably would have given it to the Shanghai Dragons.
How about you, Archimus? What do you think?
Yeah, I think no.
Yeah, I think the Fisher point is very valid. I think if it wasn't for Fisher, if that was iRemix against the Shanghai Dragons, I think I think it's an easy Shanghai. They've gotten so much better that I think they would have won this match. But you're right. I think Fisher is the game changer here, and he saves them from embarrassment. And Shanghai picks up another loss. And
Dang it.
yeah, and I'm with you there. I want them to win so bad because I want them to be
Yeah.
happy before. At least I want them to win before they bring in the reinforcements like Giguri and all of the other ones because I want them to actually have a win of their own before they actually have subs in. Like
They have the chance when the shot comes in.
yeah, well that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. That's going to be like for sure the most even match that they're going to have a shot at. So that is day 1. Let us go to day 2 where your highlight of the day, to me, it's two-pronged. You're looking at a Florida team that is just going to get whacked by London. I just feel bad for them. It's like they try so
Yeah.
hard and
It's
they're just not
gonna
going
it's gonna be a royal bitch smacking.
yeah, it's just like, it's even hard to sort of commentate about because it's like Florida doesn't even have their sub in yet. Their new flex tank, Zappis, who is supposed to
Yeah.
be their main tank, isn't even in the United States yet they signed him already. Will he play this game? Doubt it. So it's like, oh, that just means that London is just going to get a decent 4-0. I think Florida might pick up a map, maybe
Mhm.
2, surprise some people, but it's just going to be hard for them.
I mean, wasn't Florida the first team to actually pick up a map off of a Korean team?
I think they were, but they just haven't seen improvement in all
Yeah.
facets
And it
of
was
their own
against
game.
the Spitfire. It was against the Spitfire too.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about it is like the Spitfire are just prone of giving maps away to random teams here and there. It's sort of like watching the Fuel. It's like they put themselves in bad situations and they have to pull themselves out of it and they end up winning anyway. But like the Fuel haven't been able to do it in stage 1 and they're finally able to do it now. But the Spitfire have been doing all through stage 1 where they get into these just weird spots where they're down 1-0 or they're up they're tied 1-1 where they should be up 2-0 or they end up losing a third map or something like that and then having to win a third. It's like, okay. But London is is such a quality team that, you know, 3-0 is what I'm calling this match, honestly. I don't know anybody else think that there might be an upset here between Florida and London?
Nah.
No.
No.
I think Florida's gonna 4-0. No, it's Spitfire all the way.
All right, so the next match is the more interesting of the
Oh
matchup.
boy.
Oh
It
yes.
it
Oh
is the
yes.
Houston Outlaws versus the Philadelphia Fusion. Now, this game specifically has stage connotations to them because Philadelphia, being the number one overall team in the stage, goes up against Houston, who is the number three or number two, the number
3.
number three team in the overall stage. But
No, wait. Actually, I
it,
think you're right. I think it
yeah,
was 2.
I think it was two. Yeah. So, but you're looking at aggressiveness versus passiveness. Houston has been basically drawing teams in and allowing people to be aggressive and then blowing them up. Philadelphia is by far one of the most aggressive teams in all of the Overwatch League, and they're very good at being aggressive. The problem is that Houston kills that dive so well that Philadelphia might have some issues here up against Houston. So Artemis, I put it to you: are your boys going to pull this one out?
That is the question. I I'm not sure. I really want them to win. They did so well against the other teams, but Houston is really good. And I think this is going to be a game to influence me in my placement of how good Philly is.
Hmm.
If they win this, then they are really good. If they lose, then they're not as good as some people are making them out to be. I think they have a chance to win, and I hope they do,
How
but
about
they
you,
probably
Blue?
won't.
What do you think?
This is one of those games of unstoppable force meets an unmovable object. Unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, in any situation, sports or otherwise, the unstoppable force usually loses to the immovable object. And I'm gonna have to give this one to Outlaws. No matter how much I hate Jake, I just want to let everybody know that I'm not a fan of the Outlaws because I'm voting for them here.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a 3-1 in the favor of Houston.
So, Tack, are you going to be consoling Artemis after this match, or are you actually going to be cheering with him when if
Actually, I'm
Philly?
going to be cheering with him because I really don't like the Outlaws either. So I really want the Fusion to win. And so I think this is going to be an incredibly close match, especially if, I mean, they put Equo in and they have Shadowburn. So and if anything, I think it's going to be at least or at the very most like a 3-2 if they don't tie on several maps.
Yeah, so the keys to this match for Philadelphia will be one, they need to be able to shut down Muma. Like, Muma's tank play has been excellent, and I hate begrudgingly have to say that because I just hate I personally hate this team very, very much. And I don't know why, I just do. So
It's his face.
it could be his face, I don't know. It's like, but I'm just I think they need to shut down Muma. I think they need to be able to eliminate the supports in the back, and they have to be able to neutralize Linkser. Those are the three keys for Philadelphia. If they can get two out of those three achieved, I think they will win this match. If they can't shut
Mhm.
down Muma, they can't shut down Linkser, and they stop Jake from getting easy kills. For the love of God, like, they don't win this match. It's like,
I say take out Ruckus and Muma, and then every fight is yours.
yeah, that's I think that's what it boils down to. Like, they can avoid if they can just avoid dying to Linkser, that would be a big win. If you take out Ruckus and Muma on top of it, you win the game. So, like, because you can neutralize pretty much everybody else. So that's what I'm hoping for. It's going to be 3-2. I just don't know who's going to win,
See,
unfortunately.
I don't think it's neutralized. I want them to neuter the Outlaws.
Oh yeah,
But of course,
I would
that's what
love
I
to see a
Yeah.
4-0, but I just don't think I don't think if it 4-0s,
No.
like, it's just not going to happen. I don't think. I think Philly's just way too aggressive, and they're going to be able to take at least one or two maps. I just don't know if they go because the tiebreaker is going to be on King of the Hill, and the tiebreaker is what, Lijiang Tower. So it's just
no. Wait, I thought
Ilios.
it's
they changed
Ilios.
it to Ilios. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Ilios. Oh, so it's Junkrat. It's Junkrat and Lucio territory. So it's like,
Yeah.
ugh. It's like, I just don't want to see it. I don't want it to go that far. If I want Philly to win, I want them to win 3-1 before you get into 3-2 into the 3-2 time areas, because that's just going to be too hard for them, I think. But I think everybody's in agreement. Everybody wants to see Philly win. Yay! Will they win? Who knows? And the final match for day 2 is the New York Excelsior versus the Boston Uprising. Now, Boston's come down to earth since their spectacular sort of end of stage 1, losing both of their matches in week 1. So, Tack, I don't know if Ark is coming back this week because I think he still might be on the bench with that injury.
Oh
So,
fuck.
yeah, if he
Go
doesn't,
Boston.
yeah, if he doesn't come back, I think you might have some issues here with this match. What do you think?
Yes. um, I miss Ark. And so if we don't have Ark off the bench from fapping too hard, then I think we're gonna have issues with Boston. It's not gonna be as a clean sweep as it was in week 1. But I still got to give it to Excelsior with uh probably not as clean odds as we'd like. Probably like a solid 3-2 if they don't tie on a few, just like Outlaws and Fusion, which is not what it should be at all.
I mean, when you look at it, you would think that this is supposed to be an easy 3-1 or possibly a 4-0
Yeah,
for New York,
but
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. I think
No.
Boston's going to
No, it's
dive.
not.
They're going to dive on the backline of Excelsior, and if Ark's not there, they're going to get results, which is going to be the wild card in all of this. So, like Artemis, tell me, does the missing Ark cause New York to lose more than 2 maps and lose this game?
I'm not sure. Boston has looked very weak in week 1, but they were playing two very good teams, and Excelsior has looked a little weak. So I just don't know which way to call this. I think it could go either way.
Yeah. How about you, Blue? What are you seeing in this match that maybe none of us are seeing?
Well, I look at it as this. What is the team that has proven that they can beat the Excelsior time and time and again? London Spitfire, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that should be easy. So, what team was able to stomp out the Spitfire?
the
Boston.
Boston
The
Uprising.
Boston Uprising. So, I think with the team that beat the team that beat this team, um, I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
say that Boston can actually take this map,
You take that the
or
fuck
take this
back.
map,
but
especially,
but but by that
especially.
logic, it doesn't make sense.
I understand, I get that, but let me finish here. Um,
Okay.
by the fact that the Excelsior are at a disadvantage, I think the Boston Uprising can come out and they can actually destroy the Excelsior.
You take that the
Um,
fuck back, Blue. I rooted for
They-
Dallas.
they
Give me
could.
this, Blue.
They
Give me
could.
this.
well, okay, hear me out. So, Boston is known for their very yes. I've watched them. Dreamcast Freak can do some amazing shit. So, with that stated, they were actually able to stomp out Spitfire's dive when they actually faced against them. That means that they are capable of doing stuff that teams didn't think was possible at first. Now, looking back, because this is when Spitfire was the defensive onslaught of teams. If we look at the Excelsior plays in a very similar way, but are much. They're known for being more coordinated with their dives than the Spitfire were. Now, when they don't have Arc in the team, I think that they are weak. They're not looking to dive. They're going to play a lot more conservative, which Boston can actually take complete advantage of. And I think, and I'm speaking from my statistics, the Boston have a very solid chance of actually 4-0ing them if it comes down to it. It's not going to happen, but they have a solid chance of doing so.
I take your analysis and I add this. Without Ark, they've been letting SBB basically roam by himself in the back and not necessarily diving as aggressively as they were. You saw in the match that they did win, they just sort of overpowered them in a way that didn't happen against the London Spitfire. And by not having that sort of proper support, it didn't work out for NYXL at all against London, and they were sort of counterdived to hell. And I think this is what's going to end up happening to NY. I just think that if they're able to pull it out, I think they're going to need really, really hard carries by at least more than just SBB. I think Jonak needs to go off. I think Libero needs to have a consistent game, and I think maybe you put Pine in for more than 2 maps. I don't know.
If he's consistent.
If he's consistent, because he's high risk, high reward, so that could blow up in your face too. If Pine's not feeling it, then you're really fucked. Because
Yeah.
because Libero is going to have to come in, and he's not going to be the most consistent one either. Because then you're going to need some help on the other side. So
And that's why I say it's
yeah,
very possible that Boston can actually 4-0 this
Yeah.
if their inconsistent players remain inconsistent and they don't have that aggressiveness that they're known for having when Arc is behind them.
but they're just so good that it's
Yeah.
one of those
Yeah.
things in which
I was gonna say,
yeah,
I don't think Big Boss Pine is going to disappoint us this week.
I don't
I
think
was
he's
gonna
going to
say,
disappoint you for 2
I was
maps.
gonna say,
I think
it's a
he's going to
rival match too, which I mean is going to add more fuel to Excelsior's fire.
yeah.
I mean, it does the same thing for Boston, and Boston has a
Shut the
point
fuck
to
up
prove right now.
Shut the fuck up.
And looking at a weak and wounded Excelsior, Boston has the chance to rise up and destroy the Excelsior.
I think
Oh,
it'd be interesting if Boston wins this game. It the the way that the stage playoffs look are very, very interesting, because then you're going to be looking at the Korean team stuck at the bottom of the table after losing more than one match, and you'll give like these huge leads to teams like Philadelphia and Houston, uh, up into the upper echelons of the table, which will give them huge advantages because Houston's already beaten London, and they still have to play like Seoul and New York. But if they can pick up a
mhm.
lead on any of these teams, like they might be able to just sort of give up on like the Excelsior match and still make it to the playoffs at the very end. So huge implications for end of stage playoffs here in this game. I honestly think Boston is going to have a shot at it, but I think Boston is going to go down though 3-2. I'm going to be with Tack on this one. Uh, I just think mechanically the Excelsior are so much better than Boston, but you can't knock Dream Casper. You can't knock Gamsu. And these guys are so good at what it is, and I think the break hurt them the most out of all the teams. I think they were on
Yeah.
fire by the end of stage 4, by the end of week 5, excuse me, of stage 1, that they needed to keep playing to keep that momentum up, and that week break sort of took them out of their rhythm, and that hurt them. I think out of all the teams, I think it hurt them the most. So that's gonna be a fun day of Overwatch because there's gonna be a lot of watching that. I will be on a plane, shittily, between 7 and 11 because I will be flying back from New Orleans
Oh,
that day. So I'm going to miss all of this day unless
all of it.
I know, unless they stream Twitch on Southwest Airlines. So Southwest, if you're listening, hey,
Shout out.
shout
Hey,
out,
Shout out.
shout out
Photo.
Southwest
Yeah.
Airlines. Hey, I'll advertise for free if you put Twitch on your as one of the options that you can sort of stream on the
Don't they
free
have
TV.
they have Wi-Fi on Southwest planes now,
Yeah,
don't
but it's
they?
shitty Wi-Fi. You're not going to be able to stream a Twitch
It's
match
good
there.
enough. You just stream it at low quality. Listen to it as a podcast.
Oh my god, it's just
Yeah.
it's like
which is something all of our viewers should do.
Right?
right?
Plug it. Plug it.
Hey. So you should listen to us tomorrow morning on your drive into work. If you want to listen to us in completeness, you can download from Podbean. So
And if you're already listening to us,
How's it
I
going?
like your car.
What's up, my
Enjoy your
dude?
drive.
yeah, what's up? Nice car you have there. So we're going on to day 3. So in day 3, we have a couple of sort of interesting matchups here. Boston plays Florida in the first match of the day. They're going to be coming off of that late game uh, in the previous round where they were actually, playing the Excelsior. So they've got this weird turnaround where they were the late game on Thursday and they're the early game on Friday. But 7 o'clock East Coast, 4 o'clock Pacific, they'll get plenty of sleep. So it shouldn't be
Mhm.
as bad as like the way that it sort of hurt the Fuel last year, last stage where they had the late map on Friday night and then had to play Saturday morning and just like completely screw them. This I guess doesn't happen in this particular way, but they play Florida. I think they're just going to out aggressive them. Anybody think that the Florida Mayhem here will actually pick up their second win because they beat Shanghai. I forgot about that. They will pick up their second win over sort of a tired Boston Uprising. Any shots? Anyone? Anybody?
Suck it, Florida.
No, I didn't think so either. Archimus, what do you think?
I think they have a chance. I think if Boston loses this, they might have a chance. These teams are probably both going to be coming off of a loss, and they're going to want to redeem themselves. But I think Boston is just mechanically better than Florida is. But I still think they have a small chance of having a win.
How about you, Tack? You going to be awake for this match at all?
No, I'm not. The only thing Florida's good at is memeing, and so I think, I think I'm giving this one to Uprising 4-0, honestly, because Dreamcasper is just going to come out and absolutely dominate that Florida lineup.
It's just we're out of the Mercy meta. Florida's supports did not play Mercy very well. I just think they, out of a game that they could surprise everyone, I think this is it. I think they can really surprise people by beating Boston here, but I'm just not sure. I'm leaning to sort of Boston stomping them, but I just don't know. It's going to be interesting to read the results when I come off the plane, because
I mean, we are looking at a team that lost the shock in the first round too.
Yeah, that's true. So it's like, yeah, that's right. It's like, oh god. Well, the second match should be a little bit more entertaining. You're looking at the Gladiators versus the Seoul Dynasty. And Seoul finally, not having to play Mercy, not having to stick Jaehong or Toby on the Mercy, looking much better in week 1, stage 2. They play a Gladiators team now with Fisher as their main tank that should help them survive a little longer. But I mean, realistically, against Seoul Archivist, any shot whatsoever?
No chance.
Blue, I mean, so do you think Seoul just stomps them here? I mean, the LA crowd are going to be behind Seoul, I think, because I think there are more Koreans in the LA area than there are Gladiators fans. So, how is this looking to you?
Stage 1, they got 4-0'd. Stage 2, they're going to get 4-0'd. Fisher's only going to make the game last longer.
Yeah.
How about you, Tack? Is this worth your time?
Yeah, no. No. This is the part where I'm going to go be making popcorn for the Fuel Valiant game.
Speaking of the Fuel Valiant game, that is the last match of the day. Now, this is fun because you get to see AKM go against his old teammates in Unko and Soon. Now, I'm interested in knowing what conversations they're going to be having in the background, because from what I understand, Soon and Unko have been taking a bit of a lead when it comes to, like, saying like what they should be doing on a team. And AKM, who was their teammate for over a year and a half on Rogue, has got to know intimately what these guys are thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I put it to
Oh,
you. I put it to you
juicy.
guys. I know, Blue, you're the Fuel fan here. Like, do Fuel finally prove themselves to be the team that they could be by beating the Valiant on day 3?
This is grudge match number 2. It was one thing for the Dynasty to beat the Fuel in week 1, stage 1. It was a whole different thing when we all realized that Dallas isn't doing what they're supposed to. The Valiant weren't impressed by us, and then they proceeded to 3-0 us. I think this is the point where we take every advantage we can, take all the information AKM can give us about Soon and Unko, and, just absolutely and utterly destroy them. I say that confidently with the idea that Dallas would have beaten Seoul earlier this week. If that's not the case, then Dallas might fall to the Valiant. Yeah. I don't say that confidently because I do think that the Dallas has a very, very good chance of actually coming out of the Los Angeles game with a very convincing victory.
Yeah. How about you, Tack? This is the one that your popcorn's going to be ready for.
Oh, fuck yes.
But
this gonna be good.
I am worried for the Dallas Fuel tank, because I don't know who they're going to start. Are they going to play XQC? Are they going to play Coco, who hasn't even seen the field this entire stage yet? Or are they going to put Taimu on Winston? It's like, which I seriously doubt. Like, is it my doggy who we're going to see in this game?
Let's see. What's the first map again?
The first map is, let me put it up here on my screen. The first map is Hanamura. So they're getting pretty much, it's Hanamura, Nepal, Hollywood. Again, Dallas getting sort of like nothing. They're only getting Hollywood when it comes to these map choices, and Gibraltar at the very end.
Okay, so I say the way this goes, Taimu is going to be in game 1. Then they're going to switch to XQC game 2. Then they're going. But for those first 2 games, AKM is going to be starting.
I don't think they should pull AKM out of the match at all. I honestly
I
believe
don't.
they should just leave him in there the entire time. What do you guys think?
I agree with that,
I
and
think
let
so.
Effect mop up anything that he can after AKM gets off there. I
Yeah.
think that the main switch ups is going to be between Taimu and XQC on tank, and possibly even switching out Mickey, so that Taimu can play Roadhog and then let XQC play the. Oh no! Actually, I think that they're going to keep Mickey in. So this is how it's going to go. Game 1 and 2, Mickey's actually going to be in on Orisa, and then we'll see a Taimu Roadhog going through those. Hollywood, they're going to lose for some reason, and then they're going to have a re-invitation to Gibraltar to stomp on their faces. That's how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I planned it out.
Archibus, what do you think? I mean, like, if do you think Valiant are going to come back and just sort of stomp them here, or are you listening to Blue and that's what's going to happen?
If it was stage 1, then I would be Valiant all the way. But in this stage, Valiant has looked extremely weak, very weak, almost getting no points on the Dynasty game, going 2-0, 2-0, 3-2, 2-0, and then actually playing Shanghai and Shanghai almost winning some of these maps. It makes Valiant look really weak, and I think Dallas has this in the bag.
Huh. I like it. This is going to be an interesting one because I think if Dallas beats Seoul in week 1, their confidence is going to
Oh
be
yeah.
so high that they're not going to play around with the Valiant and they're just going to stomp them. I think it's added pressure to the Fuel if that Seoul match doesn't turn out the way that they want it to. Dallas just needs to win anything out of Seoul. Like, if they win 2-1, that's good enough. Like, like they can tie and make it hard on themselves. As long as they win against Seoul, they'll go into the Valiant match with a ridiculous amount of confidence, and I think they're going to stomp them. They lose that Seoul match, maybe too much pressure on them going into this match about needing to win it, and it might be sort of in the background there, sort of they thinking, oh my God, this is not going to happen to us again. Then they could overthink this and then lose. But you're right. Valiant didn't look good in week 1. And
Oh.
no, and going into this match, this is going to be one of those redeem matches for them that they'll want to do really, really well with regards to playing the Fuel, because they've been, you know, they want to get at least a semblance of getting back up into the mid-table area for the stage. So, game of the day for sure, unless Gladiators pull out a miracle or maybe Florida surprises somebody. But I'm thinking I land from New Orleans at 11:25. I can be home just after halftime. So hopefully I'll be able to catch the tail end of this match on Thursday night. So that will be fun. So our final match of the week is on Saturday, and you're looking at Philadelphia Fusion going against the Dive of the London Spitfire. And Artemis, this is all you. Like, London was the team that went down to Boston because of an aggressive dive. Philadelphia didn't have that much success against London in stage 1, if I remember right. I think that was early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Do you think Philadelphia here, though, out aggressives London and steals this match away?
I think it's possible, and I think a lot of it may have to do if they win or lose against Houston. If they win against Houston, then I definitely think they're going to win. If they lose, then it's iffy. And I think that Spitfire might come out on top. But I think either way, I think it's going to be a very close game.
How about you, Tack? What are you looking at? So Philadelphia, London.
You know, as good as Philly is, I got to give this one to London. I really do. I think it's going to be 3-1 London.
How about you, Blue?
3-1 Fusion, and that's because Spitfire has actually fallen to an aggressive dive. If Philly keeps up their aggressive dive, I don't see London having a clean victory. And if they start losing confidence after that second map, say Fusion either ties or wins the second map, then I see Philly just getting into their heads and just winning this just off of their aggression alone.
Yeah, I honestly think that the key for Philadelphia to win this match is coordination. They can coordinate properly. They have a real shot at beating London. And I honestly believe it'll be up to their supports to see whether or not that they can win or not. So if they can coordinate that aggressive dive, keep people alive, they win. If they don't, London will run over them and take advantage of them in certain maps, I think. But I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. I'm thinking 3-1, but I don't know which team. So, good luck to Philadelphia on that one. I think
Oh, yeah.
London losing their two players, losing Rascal and Fisher, maybe they could have contributed a little bit to the morale of the team because you're losing two straight Kongdu players. Everybody that's left on the London Spitfire is from GC Busan, pretty much. And I think there are a couple players that are still Kongdu that their team's switching up. It's like morale. You don't know what's going behind the scenes of the London Spitfire. I don't know. I don't know. I'm speculating, so I'm hoping that maybe that plays into sort of Philadelphia's hands. I don't know. But I think match of the day is definitely the 6 p.m. match on the East Coast. That is 6 p.m., 3 p.m. Pacific. It is the Houston Outlaws versus the New York Excelsior. So it'll be prime time for the teams, and New York will have a day break because I think they play on the Thursday. They didn't play the day before, but
Yeah.
Houston is coming off of a long break too. So I'm going to send it up to my Excelsior man, Tactical Buffalo. Do your boys stomp, or do they get countered by Houston here? And do
I
we
don't.
declare Houston the greatest team in Overwatch League at this point?
All right. Let's not go that far. All right. Easy there, Chief. All right. So depending on whether Arc is back by Saturday, which is a good possibility, I really think New York has the advantage here. However, it's just going to be how badly we beat the Outlaws.
Yeah. So Blue, give me
Hmm.
some statistics here. What do you think happens in this match? Because this is going to be a fun one to watch because I think everybody wants to know if Houston can take down two Korean teams in 2 weeks, nothing's stopping them.
So if you can tell by my somber mood, I don't like the looks of this. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with the Outlaws on this one.
You shut the fuck up, Blue.
I do think that this is going to be the matchup that we never saw, only because London was able to beat the Outlaws. If the Outlaws were to go in and they actually face the Excelsior, we've seen the Outlaws completely wipe the house with the London Spitfires' buttocks. So, fortunately, I'm gonna have to give this one to the Outlaws because I hate the Outlaws and I hate seeing them win. And the Excelsior need to step it up, stomp on them, be consistent. Libero needs to, eat Jake's face off with some bullets and a rocket. I'd be happy. If I see one teabag, I might throw my computer. I might throw it.
Well, I would
Because
expect at least one.
Jake doesn't deserve his win. He's not the reason that his team is winning. He's wasting ults on single players that aren't even near the map point, and he's just doing fuck all. Anyway, I don't want to see the Outlaws win, but I think that they're going to win 3-1, if not 3-0.
Well, how about you, Archimus? Blue feeling very somber there, having to pick the
Yeah.
Outlaws in the next versus XL. What are you thinking?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a close game, but I agree with Blue. I think Houston is going to win. They've come out on top against Spitfire, and they've proven that they are a very formidable team. And after NYX looking a little weaker in the beginning of this stage, I think Houston is going to take it.
I can't do
Strength
it.
of schedule.
I can't do it. I can't say
Oh, shit.
Houston is going to win. I can't. Logically, my brain is saying that Houston is probably going to end up winning this match, but I have to go with TAC. I'm going to say NYXL is going to win just because that's what my heart is telling me to say.
At least someone on this panel has sense.
Oh no, it's not sense
It's not
that you're
sense.
using.
This is not
We're
sense.
using sense.
Yeah.
You guys are using heart and emotion.
Yeah.
That's there's a
True,
difference
very
there.
true.
Hey, I just watched.
It fuels my hate fire.
I
Okay.
just watched Rudy.
Fuels, exactly. There
Yeah.
you go.
I watched
That's what I'm
Rudy
talking about.
recently. Anything can happen. If that little 5'8" like Frodo, oh no, he wasn't Frodo, it was Sam, can play for Notre Dame, anything can happen. It's just him and his big feet, running the team. So it's like, come on, NYXL, tell me you are the best team in the Overwatch League and just stomp these guys for the love of God. I just don't want to see Jake do another fucking interview. It's just so aggravating. It's like
Hopefully they get someone else.
yeah, I mean, it's like the reason that Houston gets all of this press is most of them are Team USA. And I get that. It's like, yeah, but that smug sort of attitude of like, yeah, you know
I don't
what?
want that to represent the U.S. Look, put Raucus up there.
Yeah,
I'll be okay with Raucus doing the interviews.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Actually, I would want to see Linkshire, a person who
Yeah,
actually
Linkshire.
contributes something to the game. So as opposed to Jake or somebody else.
Muma.
Or Muma.
Muma can
Yeah.
actually
Muma.
Muma actually is really good. So I can't take it away from him. But Linkser, I mean, like by a lot. Linkser is like when he's on Widow and he's on, God help everyone. It's like the reason they call him God's gift to Finland, God's gift to esports is because he is so good. So interview him for the love of God.
No, interview
please.
Clockwork. That I'll watch that.
Oh, the last time they interviewed Clockwork, which was hilarious, was that he was mad that he was being benched for everybody else on the team. But it's understandable. Who is Clockwork going to replace? Most likely
Yeah.
Jake, but because of the way that Jake was playing Junkrat, you couldn't take him out. And when you did take out Linkser or Jake to put Clockwork in, he didn't sort of perform. And it sort of sucked for him. So it's like,
Still getting paid though.
yeah, but you did see Spree last time for the Houston Outlaws.
Oh
'Cause-
God, Spree was
Yeah, so his Zarya was amazing. So it's like,
I mean, we might see fact fiction in there too.
yeah, it's like, God knows what's going to happen. So like, Houston is a good team. They've built a decent team. I hate their face. That's just all it is. So the final matchup is Shanghai versus San Francisco. And this
One's gonna cheer me up.
This one will cheer me up after the game ends before. Because if Baby Bay doesn't decide to hard carry, Shanghai wins this match. Am I right or am I wrong? Blue.
Baby Bay is going to be too busy posing for pictures. I say Shanghai takes this one. We're going to end up giving them all of our energy, and Baby Bay is going to have all of his energy sucked out of him, and then Shanghai wins this 4-0. No, 3-2.
Is it me or does Baby Bay look like an Eastern European porn star?
He kind of does.
Yeah,
He has that vibe to him.
Yeah, it's just like a dirty Eastern European porn star. That's the vibe that I'm getting from Baby Bay.
yeah.
How about you,
Jesus, Hodo.
what about you, Archivist? What do you think? This is Shanghai's win, right? Please? Yes, no?
Yeah. This is the game that they can win, and I hope they do. I hope they get at least one win. I really do.
Yeah, I can't. And what about you, Tak? I mean, like, is your energy going to the Shanghai Dragons here, or
Yes, Shanghai, take my energy. Win one. All right, this is some shit tier Overwatch that's gonna happen right here, and I want Shanghai to come out on top. They can be kings of shit.
Yes, I think everybody's going to be rooting for them to win because this is the winnable game for them. Like they have to do well. If they get 4-0'd against San Francisco, I think everybody's just going to be like, "Come the fuck on. Are you
Very
serious?"
I might
disappointing.
actually
Yeah.
cry.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were going to. So it's like, so that is all of the matches. But I am adding one extra topic that I got downvoted to hell on competitive Overwatch, and that is the bit cheering that is going on
Uh,
Twitch. So let for those who don't know what is going on the Twitch channel is that if you go to the Overwatch League Twitch channel to watch these games on Twitch, you can unlock things by cheering with bits. Now, the problem with all of this that I see is the amount of bits that you have to cheer to unlock things in Twitch. So, for example, to unlock the tracer skin in Overwatch, it is 40 million bits.
Holy
40
fuck.
40 million.
million.
Yeah. Or I mean that is absolutely ridiculous. It's like what the hell is that? So, like they are at 21.2 million as of this broadcast today. And there is somebody who has cheered 237,350 bits. Now, if you estimate a bit being $1, that guy by himself has cheered and costed himself $2,373.50. And that is at $1 a bit. Bits are actually $1.40. But if you buy them in bulk, I think it's like $1.20. So I'm posting it to you guys. Is this just an awesome way of getting more income, or is this just a way to bleed people for more money? Tack, I'm going to throw this out to you first.
This is a fucking Activision scheme. I can smell Activision all over this. All right. These motherfuckers. All right. They should really just be giving these out for more like Overwatch League tokens. Make them more than like, the average team skin. I think bleeding people dry of bits is just ridiculousness. Why? Why would they do that?
Money.
Other than money. Yeah,
Money.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, of course money. Of course money, but it serves no purpose for the community other than just having something to toss more money at other than the game. It baffles me why people would pay money for this.
Well,
The skins aren't even that good.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like you're unlocking at 40 million bits, you unlock an Overwatch League tracer skin, and the only way you can actually get it is
Is if
that
you contribute.
if you contribute. Exactly. So,
At
you know,
least 100 bits.
at least 100 bits, which is $1.40. So, okay, I contribute 100 bits. That's $1.40, but that doesn't even get me any of the 26 other items that supposedly that if you cheer 26 times,
Yeah.
100 bits at a time, you can unlock all sorts of other things. Blue,
Yeah, fuck
it
that
was
noise.
it was pointed out to me on the Overwatch competitive Overwatch boards that if they have the money, then why should it stop them from cheering as much as they want? I personally think that's not the right way to look at it, but of course I was
Yeah.
downvoted to hell because Reddit is Reddit, and when they think it's a good idea, everybody thinks it's a good idea. But
The hive mind at work.
the hive mind at work, well, it's what is it? Weaponized autism is another way of calling what
No,
we're
that's
That's
4chan.
Symmetra. No, that's Symmetra.
Symmetra.
Specifically Symmetra. Weaponized autism.
But Blue, what are your thoughts on this? Because Tack is in with me with the guy with this all of this. It's like I can't be alone. Me and Tack can't be alone on this, right? It's like
Unfortunately, when the bits idea actually first came out, me not even knowing that it was for skins or anything like that, I went ahead and put in my 800 bits and just said, "Yeah, go Dallas." I was completely oblivious to the fact that they even had skins. So I'm just kind of a person that wanted to cheer on my team and wanted it to be known that I was cheering for my team, and that's what it came down to me. I didn't really care for the skins, which I know that's not the same mindset that other people are in. I wanted to root for my team and prove to everybody else, yeah, I'm a fan of this team, and now I got an extra emote to show that I can press this as many times as I like to whenever I want to cheer for my team.
so Blue is a contributor. I personally haven't bought bits yet. So like I probably will end up breaking down because I'll take the Tracer skin. Okay, yay. But like Blue was very happy and wanted to cheer on the Dallas Fuel. Archimus, what do you think of the whole thing? Is like, am I just being old in this case and just seeing this? Like, because I'm older than you guys by 20 years, and I just see this as just a way for them to just bleed more money out of kids and people who are watching this just normally.
The
And
kids these days, damn it!
damn it, they just have way too much money. Fuck these kids. Like, I had to earn my money. What the hell is this garbage of just selling bits to people? What is this crap? It's like, but Archimus, honestly, it's like, do you like this, or do you find this like enriching in any way, or or are you with me and just think this is just like a way of them to just steal money off of you?
I mean, I really don't like it. I think they could have given away all the emotes for free. They have Blizzard has plenty of money from sucking money from loot boxes. Personally, they've sucked a ton of money from me from loot
I know,
boxes.
right? Feels bad to
Second
give.
copies of the game. You know, they're raking in tons of money. Millions of players are playing Overwatch.
I
They
now have
don't
an
need
alt
the extra
account.
money.
I have 3 accounts from Overwatch
Exactly.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't
have
need the money.
problems.
If you want to support your team, buy jerseys, buy merch directly from the team to support the team. Then
Well, you
people
have to-
will still know that you're supporting your team, and make the emotes free so that you can support your team.
So
You know,
I'm waiting
don't
on my Mickey
charge for
jersey.
it.
Ark,
I'm waiting for
I'd
my
like
Mickey
to
jersey.
butt in here. You're not actually buying merch directly from the team. You're also buying that from Blizzard too.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're getting like what's going to end up. See, this is where I'm with Ark. Like, I'm all about supporting the teams. If I wanted to support Dallas, I want something physical, tangible item. Like, I would
Yeah.
buy a jersey.
Yeah.
I would buy a hat.
Blowing $1.40 on this virtual currency to let everyone know that, hey, I like this team is kind of bullshit in my opinion.
See? Hive mindset. It's working against Blue now. I just stated my opinion. Fuck you, Tack.
Blue, all right, listen. What you do with your money is your choice.
And that
However,
that was what was
the-
pointed out to me on the
yeah.
Reddit boards.
what you do with your money is your choice. That doesn't make it any less fucking stupid.
Now, see, this is what I mean. Fuck you and your Hive
So-
mindset.
so
I'll throw my
again-
money where I want to. Now,
Yeah.
with that stated, I didn't do it for the point of skins, which is the entire point of this conversation is of them trying to suck money out of me.
Okay,
I did
yeah,
it
and you
willingly.
only paid- you
Now,
only paid
hold on,
$1.44.
you're interrupting me. No, I got these bits for free for being a Prime subscriber for Amazon. It was
I'm
free
not
stuff.
hating-
Now, hold on, I did not finish. Back up, Tack. Now, I continue to state that I am more than willingly to support my team in any way possible, so I already went ahead and ordered myself a jersey. I'm more than willing to do that. I'm not trying to throw money at Overwatch. I'm throwing money at the Fuel as my team. And again, I know that you're just going to rebuttal and say whatever you do with your money is still stupid, because that's what you're really saying to me. That is not the point here. What I am saying,
okay,
no,
listen.
no, 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 no.
But listen
See.
to me. All right. Look, I think your use of your free bits was an excellent choice. Okay, you do you, and you make Dallas proud. All right. I don't think buying a jersey a waste of money because I'm going to be buying a jersey. However, I think the kids
Screw
that are,
pine.
huh? Oh,
Nothing.
fuck you. All right, listen here.
I just needed to tilt you real quick. Go ahead, continue.
Listen here, you little shit. Anyway, I think the kids who were throwing like hundreds of dollars toward this shitty skin in bits is just literally a money-making scheme by Blizzard. I think it literally served. Well, even Twitch. Actually, no, it's a money-making scheme by Twitch.
Because remember,
Because they're
yeah,
the ones getting all the money from people buying bits.
yeah,
They are.
They are.
And so,
And, like,
getting
the money
double.
doesn't
Blizzard
get
has a
transferred to
partnership with
Blizzard.
Twitch. This is all just a big giant conspiracy to drain Overwatch fans of their money. That's what I'm going with.
Here is my argument.
Wake
Here
up,
is
sheeple.
Here is the basest argument that I could ever give you. It's not Overwatch's fault that people are throwing money at something so stupid.
That is that's a
It's
valid
their fault.
point.
I think it's their fault for
wait,
giving them a
wait.
goddamn reason to do it.
Wait, hear me out. They gave this incentive with the idea that people are going to do it. Yes. But the incentive is indefinitely there. It is going to be there forever. People don't have to rush to purchase this. They don't have to rush to put their bits on these accounts. People are rushing because they're stupid. It's not Blizzard's fault that people are stupid. It's Blizzard's fault for giving them the idea that they're going to get something. But Blizzard openly stated, and it was also confirmed by a Twitch employee, that there's no deadline for this. They could have had this in 10 years if they wanted to. And these skins are terrible. They're absolutely they're just gray. They're just gray. So with that stated,
hot garbage.
people are super excited for something that, look, it's their right to be excited. It's their right for being stupid for purchasing something in hopes to get something that is so absolutely meaningless. But that's not the fault of Blizzard. Of course, it's a money-making scheme, but I'm pretty sure Blizzard didn't expect them to rush straight to 20 million by the end of the first week. By 2 weeks, they're going to have something. By the end of the second week, they're going to have something that they had planned out with an indefinite deadline.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
The thing about it is I'm more mad of Blizzard enabling people's stupidity than I am about.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm really mad at.
Yeah, because
I'm really mad at the people buying bits because that's their choice. But I'm mad at Blizzard and Twitch for making it more.
They shouldn't charge for it.
Yeah.
No, it's not that they should charge. They should totally charge for bits. I get that completely.
Well,
However,
bits,
it's
not the emotes, not the skins.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's retarded. But
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, but giving them a reason to do it is dumb. Encouraging it is dumb.
Yeah, this goes to the whole, like, buying loot boxes for money. All of us have done it. I've bought loot boxes, and it gives another layer of finding ways to separate one person from the dollars that he's made. And overall, the Twitch audience, it's like there's a lot of people who are under 18. So like they're giving money away that maybe they didn't earn themselves. Snive is under 18, though he has a job at McDonald's. But
Hi, Snive, I know you're watching.
Hi, you're watching. It's like, and he can do whatever the hell he wants to do with his money, but there's nothing tangible that you're getting. You're getting a virtual item. If you were going to be doing bits, if you hit like a bit count and they send you a jersey, oh, that would be sort of awesome. Okay, you hit like you hit like 1,000 bits, or no, 6,000 bits, which is like $60. You cheer 60, you get 6,000.
Not buying bits.
No, he's not buying bits. Like, but let's say you cheered like, let's say 10,000 bits, which is $100. And they find out who you are, and they find out where you registered on Twitch, and for the 10,000 bits that you've cheered, you get a jersey out of it. That would be freaking cool. But all you're getting is a great Tracer skin at the end of this week that would unlock, or what is it, like a generic ass like Zarya skin? Fuck.
Yeah,
it's like,
5.
Are you serious?
See,
like,
there's
no.
only one thing that I can think of as to why the Overwatch community is stupid enough to go for this. There's only one thing.
And what is that?
The Sombra ARG. There's one reason why I bring that up. Okay,
oh my God, you're right.
So Sombra to come out when all of the Overwatch community was able to gather together and figure out who she was, and we had all the belief that this ARG was going to bring Sombra out at an earlier date than expected, or whenever we were able to figure everything out. Now, with that stated, Blizzard didn't have any intentions of releasing her before BlizzCon that year. Now, with people finally being able to affect the time frame as to when something comes out, they are throwing money at it so that they can control when they get something.
Yeah.
It's not smart. People are stupid. I blame the Sombra ARG.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And it's
true.
It plays to the culture of immediate gratification, right? It's like you want something now, so I'm just going to throw a ridiculous amount of money at it, and I'll get it. No matter how stupid it is, I'm going to get it. And this is something we love. We all love Overwatch, but I have to admit, this is the dumbest thing ever when it comes. It's like separating an idiot and his money are so easy for Blizzard in this particular case that it is just it's sort of sad to me, and that's why I guess I'm so angry that it's just so easy for them to do it. And they can just throw anything up there, then they'll just be like, hey, it's great. But it's like, I don't know. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about because this, when I first saw it, I felt icky, and then the longer it went on and the how fast it went on, I almost became infuriated because of it, and I just needed to sort of vent. And the thing about it is anybody on Reddit that's probably watching me this is probably flaming me right now because of this, because they've already done it already on competitive Overwatch when I was mentioning about how I thought this was like icky and not necessarily the greatest idea in the world. And then their main argument was, they have the money, they can do it. It's like, that's not the fucking argument.
It's not the
You know,
point.
It's not the
one
point.
thing I would actually go for if it wasn't for instead I would love to see in-game emotes actually come out. That would be so much cooler than just getting some random
Yeah,
skin.
these skins as a goal are very disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, that's the thing. It's like something a little bit more tangible and cooler, I think, is what I think everybody wants to argue would be what you would want. The real issue is just like, okay, if this is your first go, fine. Maybe like next year, and you do this again, maybe something cooler comes out. Okay, I
Yeah,
get
let's
it.
get a new character.
Yeah, it was like that. See,
New hero.
that would be the ultimate. Like you get what is it, 100 million bits, and you unlock an Overwatch character that they've just
Oh,
had
that
on
would
the
be
shelf.
gone in the
That
Hey,
day.
guys,
would
you never know.
immediately
That's,
Hero
that's easy
27.
money.
you
Oh
could
my
see it.
27 on that 13th unlock.
Yeah,
Here
they
we go
could
again.
set a record when it comes to that because,
Oh
as you
yeah.
said about the Sound Ray ARG, we set a ridiculous target goal, 1 billion bits, and you get a new character. God knows everybody out of the work will be donating money
I
to get.
would.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd give
dude,
them
I would
money.
throw money at that.
Oh,
What are you
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
about?
That's really what we're coming
If
up
they
to.
want to make money, that's how they make money.
Money. I know. It's like
I just gave him a brilliant
Yeah,
idea.
Twitch
Yeah.
would literally be like filling bathtubs with money and swimming in it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
they would be.
yeah, you could see like the president of Activision just swimming like Scrooge McDuck in a bathtub. I was like,
Yeah.
So, but that's
Just
it.
wiping their tears with money.
Yeah, like the emo where they have like $100 and there's just like that Woody Harrelson scene from Zombieland where he's just taking all the money and just sort of wiping his face off. That's what I
Yes.
see. That is exactly what I see. But all right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for your contribution today. That is going to be the end of our podcast today. Thank you so much. If you want to watch everybody's special Twitch channels, they're up here on the board. Archimus, Blue, and Tactical Buffalo all have their own Twitch channels. Please visit them and subscribe. I also have a YouTube channel if you're willing to sort of stream this in your car via your unlimited data. You can stream this at my channel on YouTube, or if you want to just go ahead and download the podcast, you can go to hotohori.podbean.com and get an audio version of this podcast where you can just listen at your own leisure. If you have a trip coming up and you didn't want to listen for all 1 hour and 41 minutes that we've been talking, 20 minutes of which dedicated to the bits part, you can just go ahead and download the Podbean podcast and listen at your leisure. Thank you so much for joining us today, and stay tuned. The Overwatch League
One more thing,
starts.
Hodo, before you close out.
What's
One
that?
more thing. I just wanted to congratulate Snipe. This is the first time he's actually sat through the entire thing. So thank you, Snipe.
Hey, Snive, thank you so much for sitting through
Shout
the
out
entire
to
thing.
Snipe for being a G.
Super Snive out there, our biggest Dallas Fuel fan. We're eventually going to get him on this podcast to debate TAC when the Excel and the Fuel finally play, because that will just infuriate TAC. I know for sure.
I'm already triggered.
Already triggered. But thank you so much for joining us today here on this podcast. We will see you next time.